You know that feeling when you step onto land that's yours, where every blade of grass seems to know your name. That's what hit me when I came back to my family's orchard in Willow Creek. 10 acres of apple trees stretching out like old friends, their branches heavy with memory, their roots deep in soil my granddad worked with his bare hands. I've been gone too long, 20 years in the Marines, boots on desert sand, jungles, places where peace was just a word you whispered to get through the night, but now, retired, I was home, ready to sink my hands into dirt that didn't smell of gunpowder. I'm Jack Harlan, and this orchard's been in my blood since I was a kid, learning to prune Macintoshes with my dad, watching my little girl, Ellie, take her first wobbly steps between these rows. It's not just land, it's who I am. After the service, I needed this place, needed the rhythm of dawn breaking over the hills, the quiet crunch of leaves underfoot, the weight of a ripe apple in my palm. Willow Creek's a small town, but lately it's been filling up with folks chasing that country charm, vibe, big houses, bigger egos, and an HOA that thinks it runs the world. My place, built in '78, got roped into their map by some zoning fluke in the '90s, just the dirt road to my barn touching their so-called community land. I didn't care much fix their potholes, showed up to a potluck once, smiled through their side eye at my muddy boots. Live and let live, right? Then came Vivian Prescott. Picture this, a sleek black Maserati convertible, top down, roaring past my barn like it's auditioning for a Hollywood chase scene. Blonde hair whipping in the wind, sunglasses glinting like she's daring the sun to look away. She just bought the mansion at the edge of my orchard, 6 bedrooms, marble everything, gates that scream, don't even think about it. Word around town was she'd made her fortune flipping condos in Chicago, had a reputation for suing neighbors over mailbox colors. I didn't think she'd be my problem. Her kind usually sticks to their wine tastings and yoga retreats. But one morning I saw it. Tire tracks, deep and ugly, carved through my eastern rows, right between my Honeycrisps and Gallus. Broken branches, a busted irrigation pipe, and a young tree leaning like it had been punched. I followed the tracks, heart sinking, knowing exactly where they led. I knocked on her door, calm as I could manage. She was lounging by her pool, martini in hand, a yappy little dog at her feet. "Vivian," I said, "you drove through my orchard. You damaged my trees." She didn't even lift her sunglasses, just smirked. "Oh, that little dirt path? It's the quickest way to my side of the neighborhood, saves me 10 minutes circling through the cul-de-sacs." I blinked, kept my voice steady. "It's not a path, it's my land. Private property. You can't just—" She cut me off, waving a manicured hand. "Relax, Jack. It's just grass. I'm not hurting anything." I walked away before I said something I regret, but my hand was shaking, not with angeria, but with that gut twist you get when someone spits on something sacred. I emailed the HOA, sent photos, quoted property lines. They said they'd review it. They didn't. A week later, more tracks, deeper this time, another pipe cracked. I put up signs, big ones, black letters, private property, no trespassing. By noon, they were gone. Posts snapped like twigs. I called the HOA again. A guy named Todd, their compliance officer, said in this syrupy voice, "Well, Jack, that road's kind of shared, you know. And Vivian's a big donor funded our new gatehouse. Maybe put up a gate." I hung up, jaw tight, and sat on my porch that night, staring at the trees my dad planted, the ones I'd grafted with Ellie when she was 10. This wasn't about a shortcut. This was about someone thinking they could take what's mine because they had money and a title. That's when I started planning. Not revenging, get me wrong. I'm not that guy, but a boundary, something undeniable. I pored over county codes, found a loophole for a soil conservation trench, filed the permit, got it stamped without a hitch. I dug it myself, early mornings, just me and a shovel, then a rented trencher when my back started screaming. 6 feet wide, 4 feet deep, lined with hay, covered with planks and leaf netting so it blended into the orchard floor, right where Vivian always cut through. I posted signs, laminated the permit, emailed the HOA a photo of it all. No reply, but I wasn't expecting one. I sat on my porch with my dog, Rusty, a mutt with more loyalty than most people, and waited. It didn't take long. 3 days later, just after a light rain left the ground soft, I heard that Maserati purr. I didn't run out, didn't need to. I heard the engine rev, the tires spin, then a cracked sedan to scream that could have shattered glass. I walked out slow, coffee in hand, and there it was, her car, nose down in the trench, back wheels spinning like a kid's toy, hood crumpled, steam hissing. Vivian was standing on the grass, stilettos sinking into the mud, one sunglass lens cracked, screaming, "You did this! You set a trap." I held up the permit, calm as stone. "No, ma'am. You drove onto my land after I told you not to 3 times. This is a legal trench, marked and permitted." She slapped the paper from my hand. "You're done, Jack. You hear me? I'll sue you into the ground." The sheriff showed up Deputy Sarah, who I'd known since she was a kid sneaking apples from my trees. She read my permit, looked at the signs, the photos I'd sent the HOA, then turned to Vivian. "Ma'am, you're trespassing. This is private property." Vivian's face went white, then red. "This is outrageous. Do you know who I am?" Sarah didn't blink. "I know you're on his land without permission." Vivian stormed off, muttering about lawyers, while Sarah gave me a nod. "You're in the clear, Jack." But she's not going to let this go. She didn't. 2 days later, a certified letter from the HOA landed on my porch, smelling like it had been dipped in Chanel No. 5. They called my trench an unsafe feature, demanded I fill it in or face $200 daily fines. I laughed, called my buddy Mike, a lawyer from my Marine days. He read the letter and snorted. "They've got nothing, Jack. Send him the permit, the sheriff's report, and tell him to pound sand." I did, laminated 10 copies of the permit, staked them around the trench with new signs, private land, legal trench, trespass at your own risk. The fines didn't stop, they just got creative. Complaints about my old tractor, my unsightly barn, even my mailbox, which had been there since Carter was president. Then Vivian upped the ante. A letter showed up at Ellie's apartment in Raleigh, anonymous, saying my behavior was disrupting community harmony. Ellie called me, pissed and scared. "Dad, they're coming for me now?" That was the line. I showed Mike the letter, and he grinned like a wolf. "Oh, we're countersuing trespassing, harassment, property damage, the works. And we're subpoenaing the HOA's emails." We filed that day, included every photo, every email, even grainy camera footage of someone guess hoosnipping my irrigation lines at night. The neighborhood started to shift. Folks I hadn't seen in years stopped by old Mrs. Carter with a pie, young Tim offering to fix my busted pipes. They were tired of the HOA's games, tired of Vivian's reign. I leaned into it, got a permit for a fall harvest festival apple picking, hayride, cider. The orchard came alive, kids laughing, families snapping photos. The local paper ran a story. Veteran revives historic orchard. Vivian watched from her mansion, seething, but I wasn't done. I spoke at the city council, laid out every violation, every threat, every time the HOA looked the other way while Vivian tore through my land. The room went quiet, then folks stood misses. Carter, Tim, even the tow truck guy who'd pulled Vivian's car out. The council voted to boot Vivian from the HOA and audit the board. She was gone a week later. No goodbye, just a for sale sign and an empty driveway. The HOA softened, fines stopped, and a new board took over, led by Mrs. Carter, who didn't take kindly to bullies. The trench stayed, painted bright, surrounded by wildflowers, a quiet legend. Ellie came home for Thanksgiving, and we stood on the porch, coffee steaming, watching fog curl over the trees. "You won, Dad," she said. I shrugged. It's not about winning, kid. It's about standing. The orchard's still here, still giving fruit, still teaching anyone who listens. You don't mess with a man's roots, not when he's got dirt under his nails and a line he's ready to defend. So what do you think? Was I right to dig that trench, or did I go too far? Drop a comment. Tell me your HOA horror stories because I know you've got them. Let's talk about where you draw the line when someone tries to take what's yours.